Hey Nitin, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. How are you?
So very excited. Actually, I was reflecting on this. So I don't know if you realize this or not. This is the first time in the last 10 years that we are doing something like this publicly together.
Yes, true.
If we let them see how we act and interact privately, I think everyone will get scared. Thank you so much. Very excited. So for everyone's benefit, hi, I'm Vishal,
I'm
Nitin.
Nitin. Yeah,
So Nitin runs tech for Locobuzz, and you can tell me what I do for Locobuzz.
Vishal looks after the entire company. Actually, he's the
Uh,
CEO and looks
Sales,
after.
sales is what I am after, guys. So very excited about what we have built. Nitin has been doing a lot of experiments on data science, and everybody is excited about AI. So what our tech team has done is taken a leap ahead on how marketeers look at intelligence and how marketeers try to access insights and intelligence from social media data. So it's very exciting. We have been trained to look at these dashboards, trend lines, word clouds, but ultimately, what we're after really meaningful insights. That hey, if I ran this campaign, what was the purchase intent around this campaign? Or if I have to compare my social media performance, not only do I want quantitative numbers like reach, impression, engagement, I'm also interested in qualitative insights like type of people engaging with me, what kind of emotion did they have about the brand, and more so going beyond text analytics. Nitin, tell us, are we doing something interesting with image and video also?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these two problems are the most difficult problems to solve, and we have solved it using CMOverse. So we are.
Amazing. So are you telling me that if I put a video out there, it will analyze the video and tell me the kind of content it had and why it resonated with people and why it failed or why it worked?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, the it will tell you what kind of influencers are talking about this, why they are engaging, on what topics. I mean, which topics are working, which topics are not working. So all those kind of insights will be available to them.
Excellent. And I think, folks, the most exciting thing about the new product which we have created is it saves you time. So in a matter of 60 to 70 seconds, you can ask and get a response to any complex, insightful query you may have about not just your data, but anybody's data. You want to talk about, Nitin, what are the footprint right now is and what our plans for the next couple of weeks are?
Yeah, so we are collecting around 300 brands in India and
Wow,
UAE.
300.
Yeah, right. And we have like past 1 year of data for these brands, and people can ask any kind of questions around these brands, and we are targeting to add around 5,000 brands overall across the globe in next 2 3 months.
Wow, that's amazing. So imagine, folks, so before we jump into this data analysis, it's publicly available data of about 300 brands, which is already there on the system. And over the next 2 3 months, we'll be adding thousands of brands into the system. So you no longer need to really work on any Excel or any kind of dashboards to really do any competitive benchmarking or any study on what kind of campaigns, say, which were run on Diwali, which were successful, or what really was happening on a certain day, in India or things like that. You'll be able to get all these answers very, very effectively from our product. And aptly so, we're calling it CMOverse. We believe that all you CMOs, all you folks who are hoping to become a CMO in the near future, all you folks who are custodians of your brands, uh, and who need these interesting insights and intelligence for your brand or for any other brand, as somebody who's trying to just research and understand, what is being done in the retail space, what is being done in the FMCG space, what are some of the interesting campaigns in the aviation sector. You can get answer to all of these things thanks to the magic done by the tech folks here. So very, very excited about how this real data which is publicly available, with the power of LLMs, provides you intelligence in just literally a few seconds. Things which would have taken you 2 3 days, a week, 10 days, you can get answers to them in seconds now. You want to add something to CMOverse, Nitin?
In fact, you rightly said, Vishal, that product managers, modern CMOs, who is looking for insightful answers, why something is working, why something is not working, that that gap CMOverse solves, right?
Yeah.
And these are not just powered by powerful LLMs. They are this is powered by purpose-built agents, which basically looks at an ordinary mention and enriches it so that meaningful insights can be gained from this data. So it's
Wow.
really powerful, and we'll demo it to you. So
Lovely. So, can we dig deeper into the data foundations of CMOverse now? Can you talk to us about, what powers CMOverse? What is the data source? What attributes? Can we go a bit more into those things, please?
sure. So we collect all the public data from Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. So what we have done is we have created a lot of purpose-built agents which look at the mentions, extract sentiment, emotions. These are like simple attributes,
Basic
but
AI.
yeah, but it does more than that as well. So what we are trying, we have extracted from mentions is topics, categorization or categories, NER, then purchase intent, customer advocacy, right? So these attributes cannot be extracted by simple models, right? The models have to be very proficient in linguistics. So that's what we have done. And then there is a super agent which looks after the work of these agents, and then course corrective needed. So yeah.
So, while this is all exciting, can we go a bit deeper into the tech? Because, I am getting overwhelmed just thinking about 300 brands, 12 months of data. Now you're talking about adding 5,000 more brands globally. How are you able to process all this data and come up with this intelligence so fast?
Yep. So this was a difficult problem to solve. So what we have done is we have created a fleet of microservices and selected purpose-built tech stack where the databases, the microservices, they sort of work so well together that whatever data volume you throw at it, they scale horizontally very beautifully, and in fact tells you whether they have done their work. If they have not, then there's another set of services which basically looks at what failed and then try to fix it. So it's completely autonomous, working very well together, and it was really hard architecture to solve, but I'm glad that we were able to solve it. And yeah, so that's how CMO verse is working.
Amazing, amazing. I mean, CMOverse really now is dawning to me more like literally a universe of CMO level data. I have one very interesting question around data, right? And in the past at Locobuzz, we have struggled with this. We have been questioned a lot of times about image and video analysis. You know,
Right.
uh, have we solved for it in CMOverse, and what can one expect now?
Yes, we have actually. So YouTube, Instagram, right? These two are like rich media heavy platforms, right? So if you have to make sense, and lot of budgets are, I mean, lot of campaigns work on these platforms, right? So if someone has to make sense of what's happening on this platform, image and video analysis is like, it has to be there. So what we have done is we have we do uh, image analysis, video analysis on these platforms, and we are able to get not only what is being displayed on these videos or images, but if there is a video where there is a very strong negative emotion about a particular brand, that's also we are able to capture, right? So
Wow.
that's really powerful because uh, if CMOverse is not there, there has to be a human who is analyzing these videos and tagging it, right? But that work is completely automated using CMOverse.
Wow. Wow. So we are able to now do complete insights around video, what kind of language, what kind of emotion, humor. Wow,
Yeah.
that's interesting. What about languages? Because a lot of time people ask me, as we are, as we have expanded now very strongly in Southeast Asia, in Middle East. A lot of people keep asking me questions about Arabic has many tones. There are flavors to it and all of that. So how are we using technology to solve for languages and nuances around languages?
Yeah, so that was also a very tough problem to solve, and that's where our experience with Locobus came in handy. So we are working with a lot of data in Locobus, so that experience actually helped us. So this our LLMs or our tech not only supports the normal language which you write, but it can also understand the things which you say. For example, whenever you are saying something sarcastically, right? The tone in which you say is very, very different, right? So looking at text and coming up with what is being said is very different from listening to someone and then getting into or deriving the emotions, right?
So
So
true.
those problems we were able to solve, and we were amazed by some of these LLMs which were so good at deriving this information for us.
Wow. So if I have to summarize it for our customers or audience here, you're saying the CMOverse is not only capable of handling scale, it is capable of handling any language, any media type. It is able to extract rich data points from images, videos, text in any language. Use that to answer any question around your marketing queries. Whether
Exactly.
you are trying to analyze the performance of a campaign, whether you are trying to compare two campaigns, whether you want to know, impact or reaction of people to a campaign, even purchase intent, you're able to get all of these things.
Absolutely.
So does that mean this can be used by people to understand perception for elections also then?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that is a very good use case.
Lovely. And considering it can handle any amount of data volume, I think it becomes a no-brainer for us to sort of look into that.
Yep.
Great. And could you talk a little bit more about data preparedness and the time it takes to, create the report? How do we engage with the audience? What does it do behind the scenes? How does it come up with these amazing responses?
Sure. So whenever someone asks a question, right, it we break it down into multiple insightful questions, which is required to answer that one question which customer asked, right? Now, what we do after that, we look at the data points which we are enriching and we are getting from social media, right? Now, basis the query which customer has asked, we look at what data we have collected, and then right, from that natural language question to a SQL query, there is an LLM which does that and then gets the data. Now,
Got it.
once we get this data, we summarize it. We look for anomalies. We look for patterns. We look for anything which is of significant value to the customer to answer that question, right? And then an insightful answer is formed and then sent back to the customer.
Wow.
In fact, it takes around 50 to 60 seconds to answer that. And during that time, we also show the end user what the LLM is thinking. So it talks about, or it shows you what LLM is thinking, how it has broken down your question and what to expect in the answer.
Amazing, amazing. So we've been talking a lot about what it can do. I think it's time to now jump into to show people, how it looks like. So I have a very interesting question for you to start with, because my day usually starts and ends trying to avoid being run over or colliding with these Swiggy and Zomato, crazy bikes running all over. So, all I can think of is, can you compare the social media performance for Zomato and Swiggy, say in the last quarter? Can we
Sure.
look at how it
Yeah.
looks like?
All right.
And
Let
will
me
it also
share.
talk about dangerous driving?
Let's see. Let me present my screen. All right. So here I've sent this question to CMOverse, that what is the social media performance for Swiggy and Zomato. And
Uh-huh.
see, not only it gave you the quantitative analysis, right? That how many mentions it generated and what kind of positive, negative chatter was there. It gave you key takeaways as well, which is what a CMO would want, right? So this any analyst in 4 or 5 hours of work can do, but this is what makes CMOverse really really awesome, where it is telling you that Swiggy has much larger or more engaged social media audience, right? Swiggy does post on Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram, but where Zomato should be working on is they are not posting as much as Swiggy is posting right now. So they should be addressing that. And both have negative, a large proportion of negative chatter. So they should work on improving their brand sentiment, right? So
Got it.
and it gives you the recommendations and a quick comparison of whatever question you have asked.
Wow, interesting. So it comes with some of the charts as well. So you
Yeah.
don't feel completely out of the place. You're used to what you are used to. You're able to get some of that also. Very nice. Interesting. So let's get into something more interesting now. Text is a passe. Can you show me something around image analysis? Can we look at how do you decode visual themes? Let's look at some consumer electronics. Maybe it's like lots of noise around noise and boat and whatnot. So can you show me something around visual themes and how do we drive customer connection on these visual themes?
Sure. So here I have asked a question: what visual themes are driving consumer connection with boat, and compare it with its competition, right? So again, it has analyzed the data about boat and its competition, right?
Can you show us? We are still seeing Swiggy and Zomato.
Oh, okay. Um,
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. So here it has given you insight on what kind of themes are working. This is very very important because not a single product out there can do this without analyzing an image, right? So this is very very important, where it talks about that competitive spirit is being very engaging for both, right?
Interesting.
Yeah.
So it's really getting into the kind of themes board is putting: perseverance, accomplishment. These things
Correct.
align with the aspirational and motivational content, which seems to resonate well with the audience. Very interesting. Wow. So we could, and then it is going into what hashtags are being used, all of that as well.
Exactly.
Ah, wow, very interesting. So Nitin, this is very exciting, but I have a very specific question, here, because we've been doing this ORM, social listening monitoring for ages.
Yeah.
The kind of questions we get, right? The most important thing which we are asked always: how can I use this to improve my product, services, or experience?
Right.
What are the positive or negatives around my customer experience is what people ask, and then a lot of senior leadership are interested in elevating their brand using this intelligence. Can we identify this? Because in the past, to identify this requires us to go to each mention, categorize it, make sure sentiment is right. Correct me, that's the process, right? Use
Yep.
AI to maybe look at it, then somebody will say, change this, change that. Then there are aspects involved. Somebody may say packaging was great, but the price is too much, or the sound quality is bad. So can you show me something interesting? Thing which comes to my mind is aviation. It's always very juicy because people
Mhm.
have very interesting expectations. Can we look at positive and negative themes around say Air India?
Sure. Let me share this tab. Okay. So here, what? So based on your question, I've keyed this question here. Now, what it has come up with, that it is telling you what positive themes is being talked about in with respect to Air India, right? So customer service appreciation,
Wow.
flight experience, brand loyalty, right?
Taj would be happy, huh? Fly AI. Interesting hashtag. Huh? And
Yeah,
it's suggesting a lot of wow. So this is, and it's so nice to start with positive, because
correct.
every time social media usually has so much toxicity, right? Very interesting. I would not. Wow. So you're saying you just keyed in and you're able to get all this.
Yes, yes,
Wow.
and negative themes as well, right? And then it gives you
Unresolved issues. Like no wonder lack of response. They are not using Locobuzz, Nitin. I think they maybe that's why unresolved issues and lack of response. If Air India is listening in, time to upgrade and easily solve your negative thing. Oh my God, refund amazing. This is so powerful. So with just a click of like just firing a sentence, I'm able to literally identify what are my key pain points and what aspects people are liking about myself. This is really powerful, Nitin.
yeah, absolutely.
So to tell me again, so this is not just firing questions on public data. You would have processed this data also internally, right?
Yeah, absolutely. See, again, the incoming data is not that meaningful. So we have to look at the parent post as well sometimes to get meaning out of it, right?
Wow,
So that,
context and whatnot.
yeah, so establishing a proper context. So if it is a threaded comment, then we'll have to look at whatever parent, I mean, whatever the context of that comment is. So that's how we derive insights from the data, and that's how we enrich the data. So
Wow. And do we add like and then we add a lot of attributes to it also.
yeah.
Wow, this is very powerful. I can't stop reading the kind of stuff I've been able to get, because doing this, I know, you would ask an analytics team to work on it and they would go through the data, and this is looking at last 3 months.
Correct.
Wow, this is brilliant. So, guys, so just to reiterate, what you're seeing here is an analysis done over 3 months of data on what's driving positive and negative reactions on your, by your customers. And you saw it identified the hashtag which is resonating. You saw it identified the themes people like, do not like. It really narrowed it down to refund. It narrowed it down to lack of response, delay in response. It even talked about loyalty and service, some people appreciating. So, really remarkable. So, imagine being able to get to these responses just by asking the question you're looking. And one question I had is, while we're looking at all these things, people are used to Chat GPT and all that. So before we jump into, what's the difference with Chat GPT, one question I do want to see is answered. When I use Chat GPT, it gives me, next steps questions, and if I ask a question, it gives me hints on what to do next. Does CMOverse do something like that? Because it helps navigate more intelligently. Do we do
Yeah.
that in CMOverse?
Yes, we do show the what should be the next follow-up question, right? So it looks at what kind of analysis it has given, and then it gives you the suggestion so that you don't lose the context, you don't, and only the meaningful question appears there. So most of the time, 80% of the time when I've used this, the thing which comes to my mind is shown on the screen. I just have to click it and get the answers.
Wow. And soon it will start showing things which you are also not thinking about. No, so this is so my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong here. My understanding is that the key difference between, say, using a generic LLM like a Chat GPT or a Perplexity or anyone, it doesn't have access to this data.
Correct.
And not only this, I think we are taking this data and processing it with more attributes and refining it, so that when ultimately we ask question on this data, this is data plus plus. So it's
Correct.
so our ability to answer in a more meaningful manner will always be way beyond anybody else, because we have taken the effort of not just collecting, processing, and keeping it sort of semi prepared. So I'm thinking more like a restaurant where you just go in and say I want paneer butter masala, and they're not starting from scratch. They already have everything set, and they just put it all together in 10 minutes. It's there.
Exactly.
Am I on the right track?
Yes, you are.
So
Yes.
is it as simple as making paneer butter masala, or or there are more engineering challenges you solved?
there are lot many engineering challenges which we have solved to get to this point. So yeah, consider it that chat gpt has access to all social media conversation with context, with all the enrichments which we are doing, and then it is doing or running a deep research model on top of it, right? And deep research model takes anywhere between 3 to 5 minutes. Now we are doing that within 60-70 seconds. So that's really, really powerful because we have fine-tuned these kind of, these LLMs to do the things which they are doing right now for CMOverse.
And I think one more thing which I was doing a talk yesterday in the Rotary Club, and I used an AI tool to make my presentation. And when I was giving the presentation, I saw it also when generic LLMs have the tendency of really giving lot of misleading trends and gyan. I mean, they I think especially in open-ended situations like this, they would tend to hallucinate
Correct.
or give you just random stuff which may sound very poetic and nice to you, but would have no relevance to your business.
Yeah, so our responses are always grounded. There are citations available, so it will never hallucinate. And to avoid this hallucination problem, there is one super LLM which is looking at the data and looking at the citations and cross-checking, cross-referencing whether that output is proper or not. So you
Wow.
can be always 100% positive that whatever answer we are giving using or getting using CMOverse, it's always grounded to the real data.
Wow. Wow. So how can one access CMOverse now? I mean, can I just go to CMOverse and start using? So suppose I am one of the people attending this webinar or I get access to this recording. How do I get benefit out of CMOverse? How do I access it?
It's very simple. You just go to CMOverse.ai, just put in your email address, sign up, and start using CMOverse. So you get around 5 credits every day. So in a month you have 150 credits. So that's like 150 questions you can ask. And yeah, that's how. And if your brand is not listed, you will be put on wait list. And within 2 or 3 days, you will get an invite, and then you can start using the product.
Lovely. And what about existing Locobus customers? Do they get some kind of benefit advantage on using CMOverse?
Oh yes, especially for Locobus customers, the product is free. You can sign up or sign in using your Locobus credentials, and you'll be able to use it
Oh,
without
wow,
without
that's
paying.
brilliant. So if you are a Locobus customer listening to this, you can basically start looking at all this wealth of information, whether you want to look at it from a research perspective, whether you want to learn from it so you can do better at your future campaigns, or you want to just evaluate or get some queries addressed around your brand or your competitors. You can do all of that free of cost. All you need to do is sign up with Locobus. If you have friends who are not using Locobus, it's obvious what you need to tell them to do. So I mean, this is very exciting, Nitin. So what about the roadmap and future from here?
Yeah,
What's
so
the
sir, that's what I wanted to discuss or get your opinion on it, right? So what after this? So how do you think the CMOs will be using a product like CMOverse, and what should we build after this?
this is very interesting, because I'm just the response I saw on Air India is still playing in my mind, and it is so powerful. I think the first thing which comes to my mind is how do we tap into more interesting problems like security. We saw as Indians we went through a lot of issues last couple of weeks, and I was just wondering there were so many concerns around fake content and misinformation and disinformation. I think technology like this, which is capable of listening and analyzing millions and billions of data points, and it's ready to scale infinitely, can be used to address security concerns around misinformation, disinformation. I think I would really sort of think about that a lot. And I think the recent, like the feedback which we're getting from the users is quite on point. We'll continue to evolve the agent's ability to decode the data. But I see a lot of interesting use cases around misinformation, disinformation, security. And one of my, from a business standpoint, my favorite thing is if you're managing, looking at people sentiment and reaction, whether you are a governing body like BMC, so you
Mhm.
would know, what people like, if there is anything, and what people don't like. And if you are a larger body than a state government, whatnot, you can use it to really understand people's reaction to your policies, your decisions, your investments, and how it is benefiting people or how it is impacting people's life, and you could use to really create a better citizen satisfaction score. So move from customer satisfaction to citizen satisfaction, because we can handle so much data. So yeah, super excited about it. And then of course, one can think about making this. Do you have a mobile app already for this? Are we launching the mobile app? Where are we with that? That's another idea which comes to mind, right? How
Yeah,
can CMOs access it at the
yeah.
tip of their fingers, whether it is through WhatsApp or whether it's through email or their mobile phone? Is there something happening on those lines?
Yes, so mobile application is coming this week, so we'll be launching it later this week. So stay tuned. I think that will be a very powerful method of getting information around your brands on the go. So yeah, stay
Awesome.
tuned.
Great, very excited, guys. So, I think when I think of CMOverse now, all I'm thinking is high velocity, high quality intelligence on demand. Like Nitin mentioned, going from 300 to 5,000 brands, you can understand the wealth of data you have, whether you are a marketing student or a marketing officer. There is something for everyone there. And if you are a Locobus customer, you get it all free. So great, great. Thank you so much, Nitin. Very excited about how it unfolds and how people make use of it to save time and better their lives. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks.
guys.
Thanks. Thanks.